sure, don't you know? My name's Eddie Nestor. This is Drivetime. We've been meeting the people who run councils across London. It's been, in my 16 years, this may have been one of the most fascinating pieces. These people make huge decisions. We have the mayor on, of course. We have the commissioner of the mayor. We have the leader of Transport for London. I know those people, but these people I've never really got to meet. Why do they make the decisions they make? How difficult is it? How much of their budget is taken up by X, Y, and Z? How do they prioritise what happens with the money that is diminishing almost in front of our eyes? Austerity is a big thing. This time, we've got an opportunity. I've spoken to one of the longest reigning council leaders. This is one of the newest, I think, Joseph Ejiofor, who took control of Haringey last year. If you have a question for him, and this is one of the hot councils in London, I've got to tell you, then you can get in touch, 0800 731 2000. But as per usual, our political reporter Susanna Mendonça had a few facts about the North London Borough.
The London Borough of Haringey was formed in 1965 when Hornsey, Tottenham and Wood Green merged. The North London Borough has been run by the Labour Party since the early 1970s, and the Liberal Democrats are in opposition. The last council leader, Claire Cober, resigned last year, accusing local Labour members of sexism and bullying. This followed an internal party dispute over a regeneration plan called the Haringey Development Vehicle. The borough's history goes back to Roman times, and its name, Haringey, originates from an old Anglo-Saxon word meaning herring's enclosure. Now, Haringey is mostly residential, and its main commercial centre is Wood Green. It's home to Alexandra Palace, which is seen as the birthplace of television, from where the BBC used to broadcast. The borough has a young, ethnically diverse population. It also has high levels of deprivation in eastern wards like Northumberland Park, while the west of the borough has very affluent suburbs like Muswell Hill.
Councillor, welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome. I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I mean, yours is one of those that I've most been looking forward to having on here. And I can't say it's great news. On my way in here today, I read a report about a kid getting stabbed by running into a shop. We hear it about Wood Green. I've seen a video, I don't know if you've seen, of the kids running in and out of McDonald's. I hear reports almost weekly in the whole of London, but mostly about your part of town. Why is crime so bad in your part of town?
I think the reality is that there are issues with gun and knife and gang crime across London. I don't think it's particularly worse in Haringey, though there are an issue.
Really?
There is an issue with how some of the gangs interrelate in the North London boroughs. It is something which we are concerned about as a council, because ultimately when people are being assaulted and shot and stabbed on the streets of Wood Green, in the middle of the streets of Wood Green, it's a bad thing for the families, the residents, the borough, and as a council, we've got to deal with it.
When you get that, right, because oftentimes we talk about you people as though you're not human beings. You're a parent. When you receive the kind of news that I get, as I pick up my paper and I read that, knowing that I'm coming to see, tell me your reaction.
I'm horrified. No, there is no other way to talk about it. I'm always concerned that we as a council aren't doing enough to support the police and help the police get engaged. Maybe we're not doing enough to provide the sort of CCTV surveillance that makes our residents feel comfortable. But what we are doing here and now is looking at how we can deliver change. Right? The Mayor of London's got a Young Londoners Fund, and one of the things that we've sought to do is to get money from that fund in order to address some of the issues why young people get socialised and get involved and engaged in gun and knife.
Do you appreciate that you got a particular problem? 2011 riots started in your... I know you weren't the leader then, but they started in your part of town. We have, Broadwater Farm, and we know the story historically there, in your part of town. I don't read reports of this sort of stuff happening in Muswell Hill.
Well, I can accept that there are specific area issues with how the community is engaged and relates to the police in urban black areas. This is one of the things that it's not just about how the police and community relations are in Tottenham. They're also quite bad in other parts of London where there are minority ethnic communities. And also when you go further north, some of the other minority communities, not necessarily the black community, also how it engages with the Turkish community.
I get that. But today I'm here talking. And when I talk to Hackney, I'll do that. When I talk to Waltham Forest, I'll do that. Today I'm talking about Haringey. What are you doing about it?
Well, as I've said, We've got £1.5 million from the Mayor of London's Young Londoners Fund. There was £30 million. The Mayor thought that it's really important for council to help to get on top of the issues around gun, gang, knife violence. What we want to do is to find ways of taking young people away from gangs, getting them to have other alternatives, whether these alternatives are work opportunities, whether these alternatives are better educational opportunities, keeping them out from exclusions. We are taking that public health approach to youth violence. We've got a young people at risk strategy. We are seeing how we can keep people away from the problems that seem to surround them. There are issues around peer group pressure. There are issues around what choices young people have, and we've got to give our young people more choices.
How much are your efforts stymied by, I suppose, a lack of development around Tottenham Hotspur? I remember going down there after 2011. That part is a pretty rundown part of town. Today, or this week, I'm reading that Body Music, a shop that's been there ever since I can remember, that's about to close down. I
hadn't heard about Body Music closing down. I can look into that. I don't know about that. I don't know the reasons why it's closing down, whether it's a case of the person moving on.
Sorry, Body Music is a record. So
I know
what you know it is. Let me tell everybody else. It's a record shop, sells CDs, and it's been a hub of the community for many, many years.
20 years, 30 years maybe.
You closing down some of the bookie shops?
I would not take. We're not closing down Body Music.
No, you're not. I don't say you're closing it. I say it is closing.
Yeah, but if there's a situation whereby we as a council can assist, we'll certainly come out and assist. But this is the first that I've heard about it.
Okay.
Right, and a number of these situations where, shops like that should be an integral part of our high street and our high street development strategy. If we don't know about it, we can't impact on it. We can't change it.
But one of the shows that I did for BBC Inside Out was about the proliferation of bookie shops in Tottenham. How worried are you about that?
Again, these are things that we can't directly impact upon as a council, as much as we want to stop another bookmakers opening up. Every time a bookmaker comes, if they make a legal application, there is a presumption to permit within the planning process. We can't stop another bookmaker opening because there are 5 right next to it. That's not allowable within the planning process. What we
Do you wish it was?
Oh, absolutely. We've talked to our MPs, and we've asked the MP to talk to government about changing the planning process, because that's the way you give councils the ability to direct what happens on their high street.
Okay, you mentioned MPs, and we'll talk about MPs because Labour have had an interesting week or so. We'll come back. Leader of Haringey Council, if you have a question, 0800 731 2000. Here's Pippa.
Thanks, Eddie. A couple of problems in Wanstead. Well, one's completed, actually. The A12 Eastern Avenue has reopened, approaching the George Green Tunnel following the accident. So those delays to Hackney Wick should be on the mend. But we've got 2 lanes closed on the A12 eastbound from the Lee interchange up to the Green Man roundabout. And that's involving an accident, 3-vehicle accident, a fuel spillage with congestion back to Hackney Wick. Still pretty slow on the Blackwall Tunnel northern approach southbound towards the tunnel, with delays to Bromley by Bow. Queuing traffic on the A2 Rochester Way Relief Road eastbound at the Kidbrook slip. Tailbacks here back up the Blackwall Tunnel southern approach to the Woolwich Road flyover. That's after an earlier breakdown. A4 building now westbound from the Hammersmith flyover towards Burlington Lane at the Hogarth roundabout. And in East Dulwich, queuing traffic on the South Circular at Sydenham Hill because of the roadworks and temporary lights there. Eastbound delays back past Dulwich Park. South Western Railway services Waterloo to Woking still disrupted by a faulty train at Berrylands. South Eastern trains via Cannon Street are being delayed by up to 20 minutes following an earlier technical fault, and delays on Chiltern Railway following an earlier incident at High Wycombe. Trains are running at reduced speeds there. Pippa Sparks, BBC Radio London. Your next travel at 6.
This is London. brief question for you, but difficult question.
Vanessa Phelps.
Morning. Now, this sounds like a drastic move.
BBC Radio London Breakfast.
That was the jewel in the Sutton High Street Crown years ago, wasn't it?
Weekday mornings from 7.
This is the baby. It's your health and the baby's health. If you can't vote, you can't vote. Some things are more important than votes.
BBC Radio London Breakfast with Vanessa Phelps.
Absolutely fabulous call. Thank you so much. I hope you'll ring again.
Weekday mornings from 7. This is BBC Radio London.
That's Vanessa on our radio station 7 to 10, Monday to Friday. I'm here with our Meet the Leaders series. Joe Ejiofor is here as a new leader of Haringey Council. And one of the challenges is to ask completely different questions to every leader, because we know austerity is bad. We know adult social care is a huge issue. But I must ask you about Brexit and the defectors. Do you think that those people who stood down from the Labour Party should resign their seats, stand to have a by-election?
I'd like to take that away from the Labour Party per se. I believe that anybody who stands for a particular party, whatever party that is, and then decides that, you know what, I want to join it, I want to leave that party and go and represent a different colour, I believe that any person, whatever party, should step down and there should be a by-election and they should run for their own seat again.
Well, what about the idea that they think that anti-Semitism and Brexit are so important that normal rules don't apply? Would you accept that there is a perception of a problem with anti-Semitism within the Labour Party?
I'd like to come back to that secondary, because it's not about whether or not normal rules apply or not. Right? The issue that has been raised there is whether or not people should retain their mandate. It's not a personal mandate. You can't tell me that 30,000 people went out to vote for Joan Ryan because she's Joan Ryan. Right? They voted for Joan Ryan because it's Joan Ryan, the Labour Party candidate. And at that level, I think that whoever it is, wherever they are, should step back down and run for their seat again. If they want to run as an independent, fine. But I just think that that's the way to do it. As regards to the other issue, I did see John Lansman in the papers today talking about how Labour has a problem with anti-Semitism. I have to say that 20 years ago, when I was working in the black voluntary sector, it was clear from the work that we'd done that if somebody from a particular community perceives that they are being discriminated against, it is not for any person from any other community to say that they're not. Right?
Therefore, there is a problem. We've had Jewish people saying that they have a problem. We've had people leaving your party because of it.
If Jewish people are feeling that Labour has an issue,
is enough being done?
Well, clearly not. Right? Clearly, we can't be in a situation if people are still leaving the party and feeling that that they're unwelcome and they're being discriminated against. Clearly, not enough's being done. And as John called today, it's important for those at the top of the party, at the top of the tree, to ensure that more is done to make things fairer.
You got to work with me now. I know you're a Tottenham supporter, so you're used to things getting done quickly and not quite the way that you would like. We're going to get Spursy on this now, Councillor. Nicholas is giving us a call. You got your headphones on. Yeah. Nicholas, the councillor is yours.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to ask Councillor Ejiofor where is the evidence for the support for market traders that he and Haringey Council have been repeatedly publicly referring to for the last 8 months. The development agreement has no details on how much the rent will be. There are no guarantees about which, if any unit, any of the existing traders like me will be given in the new market. I gave evidence recently to a scrutiny review panel regarding the fact that my business is high street facing, reliant on footfall for bureau de change. Obviously, the new location is far from ideal, which means that my business
it's 22
is
hours
likely to suffer and can potentially fall due to
Okay, I think the line is breaking up, but I mean, this is particularly about the Latin market development here. Can you answer, please, Nicholas?
Well, the issue around Wall's Corner, a lot of the narrative recently has been about the councillor as the developer at Wall's Corner. Wall's Corner is a private development by a company called Granger. And there's also been a narrative that the market is being demolished. It's not being demolished. The proposal is to move the market from one side of the road to the other side of the road in a temporary location, and then redevelop the market on the north side, which is the Wall's Corner site. I think where the council has been, I believe, clear, is that we want to ensure that whatever happens with the renewal there, that there is a sustainable Latin village market on that site. We've always been clear about that. But part of the conversation is about how we bring the traders and the developer together to look at what that future looks like. So we talk about things around, what is the design and development of the market? What's the feel of the market? What is the future management and facilitation of the market? Right, and also the issues around rents. There's a Section 106 agreement, an S106 that people know about, which makes it clear that the rent per square foot now is the same as the rent per square foot. So
there's no worry
forward
about them going up in the way that Nicholas was suggesting?
Well, I think one of the issues that Nicholas is talking about is that he has a particular pitch at the moment which is street facing, and it's not going to be the council that makes the decision about which pitch he gets going forward. I can understand his concern.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it because I've got so many things. So this one is personal because it's been asked by 3 or 4 people of me personally to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the number of prostitutes on Tottenham High Road of a night time?
I'm aware that there is prostitution in parts of Tottenham, and yes, we're working with the police to see how...
Sorry, it's not a trick question. I'm just saying that as people go about their business, they have noticed an increase, and they've asked me to ask you as a leader.
I haven't noticed personally myself.
No, I don't mean it.
No. I know there's an issue. No. I hear that, right? I hear the question that you're being asked. I haven't noticed it as an issue, though. I hear that it is happening, right? Maybe I don't get out late at night. I don't know.
Philip has got a question for you.
Good evening. Yes, I'd like to ask why the current council is still keen to go ahead and build private sector or have private sector's developments going up in the borough. Where I live is going to be within half a mile of the new proposed development around Tottenham Hale, which includes a 36, I believe, storey high block. Why aren't we getting social housing built, please?
That's the HDV, right? Which is
no, that's not. That's the Argent development. There's a development in Tottenham Hale, which is 1,000 homes, of which there is a very tall block there. But also, as part of that development, we get 131 council homes built on the Wellborn site. If you know Tottenham Hale, you know where the Wellborn Centre is. The Wellborn site there, we get 131 social homes, council homes for council people at council rents built on that site as part of that development.
I believe that's not enough. We've been asking for a minimum of 25%. But why are you going ahead and approving tall blocks, of up to 36 stories high, please?
Well, ultimately, that's a planning decision. This is people need to understand that, again, planning decisions are taken with a specific set of rules. We can't just turn an application down because we don't like it, because the people who make the application have a legal right to challenge us, right? There's a specific set of rules that planning works for. It's quasi-judicial. Where we are with our planning policy, we might be looking at issues around affordability, issues around how much social should be in any particular development. We can change things like that, but with regards to the basics around planning policy, it is very difficult to change. And again, it's one of the things that is done at a national level.
Just ask me, why did you sack 2 of your cabinet members on New Year's Eve? It doesn't sound like a pretty happy or very happy ship.
Well, one of the things that as a council we need to do is we need to work collectively, collegiately together. We need to work as a team. The cabinet needs to be able to spend its meetings discussing policy, discussing what we need to do and how we need to deliver things going forward. Okay. With any organisation, if you're in a situation where not everybody's pulling together, then, as a leader, we need to make decisions.
No, but I understand that it's because of Fortismore, one of the top schools in Haringey, in Muswell Hill, £35.9 million been put aside for that school, when other schools also are in need. Was that the issue?
No, it wasn't the issue. It was specifically around how the cabinet worked together and the fact that there were petty personal differences that were being played out in places that they didn't need to be.
But it's £35.9 million being given to Fortismore.
£35.9 million is not being given.
It's set aside for building work on the school.
Hold on. It's important to understand that we have a capital programme which all of our schools are able to dip into. Fortismore's sixth form block had £150,000 spent on it, must be 2017, when the roof fell in. All right. Where they are at the moment is they have a need for the redevelopment of part of the site. There is a possibility that, because the school's a foundation school, it can go out to the market and do that. It has the right to go out to the market to do that. Right. But where we are is there was a possibility that the school wanted to partner with the council, whereby the school got its block and the council got 14 council flats as part of that development deal. But where we are at the moment, no decision's been made.
I get that. You used to be a governor there. Your child goes there. 4 cabinet members have children that go there. Do you understand why some people may have concerns?
This is not money being shipped out through the back door, taken up in a transit and dumped in. No. It's really important that nothing will happen at that school which wouldn't happen anywhere else. The proposals that will be done in the light of day, the reports will be there, everybody will be able to see it. Right? There is no secret there.
What's the most difficult thing about being the leader of a council, finally, for you?
The most difficult thing about leader of the council is it's a time-consuming, all-embracing job. Right? I have to say, personally, it's the best job I've ever had. I really enjoy it. I've got a manifesto to deliver on behalf of the Labour Party with a team of councillors, a cabinet team. We need to go out and develop and deliver things for the people of Haringey, whether it's housing, whether it's making council tax fairer, whether it's looking at what we can do for young people and youth services. The challenge is to deliver. That's what we do. That's what we set out to do. And I'm really enjoying it.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it very much. It's been a fabulous season and you've been a fabulous guest. I appreciate it very much. A leader of Haringey there, Mr. Councillor Ejiofor. Now it's time to hear from Pippa Sparks.